If you have climate grief or ecological anxiety, a lot of worry about what's going on with our climate and our globe, then you're at the right place. I am a Stanford scientist, climate change scientist, and I have been teaching climate solutions at Stanford University for almost a decade. So this is the place where I turn around something that is such a gripping and dark and overwhelming topic that we're all just trying to hide out away from, right? And dig our head in the sand because it's just too much. Our brain says cannot compute, cannot handle, into something that's actually a place where we can become inspired, where solutions exist, and where you can actually start leaving that feeling of fear behind and creating empowerment. Let's go. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Marina Oster, Stanford scientist and life coach. Welcome to my channel, a place where we save the planet by healing ourselves first. So as a climate scientist, in the trenches, doing the research, doing the work, tranquilizing wolves that are running from a helicopter to get their blood and to optimize RNA extraction from it, all the way to almost getting bit by rattlesnakes, studying plant-insect interactions and how the chemicals that are actually emitted from plants are a language that might be impacted by climate change, all the way to looking into the ocean, looking at the species that live there and how calcifying organisms, those that have a harder shell, like sea urchins, how they're going to do when the ocean is going to become more and more acidic with climate change when the pH drops. So this is all work that I have done, and in my years of being in the field, doing the macro, doing the micro, being underwater, being terrestrial, and studying everything from genes to large organisms themselves, I have really been able to go through a process and find a solution that I want to share with you. And what that is I came to a point where I realized that there was just too much. I knew too much. And I remember when I was driving in traffic, and I was just sitting there in my car, hands on the wheel, and I looked out at the factories that are emitting smog, and I saw all these billboards and all these cars, and it's like I had x-ray vision. I could see everything that was doing to the planet. I could see all of the greenhouse gas emissions coming from the tailpipe. I could quantify them. I knew what they were. I knew what they were doing to the upper atmosphere, that they were adding to the heat trapping gases that were already there, thereby increasing the greenhouse effect. I saw all of the smog and smoke. I knew what that did as health consequences. And I just reached a point where I said, stop, too much, cannot handle. And it was a place really where I had a pivotal moment and I said, this is not gonna work. I can't be a scientist. I can't be a professor, I can't teach people, and I can't do the work if I am paralyzed by fear. And so in that moment, it became a mission to me to share with as many people as possible that it doesn't have to be like this, nor should we be looking at changes that are human caused or anthropogenic like this. And so that's where we're zooming in today from my personal journey. I had to step back and say, no, if I'm in fear, what good am I to this planet? How can I serve it? How can I serve others? I can't. And I feel like that's the point where so many of us are coming, of all ages, right? And so I'm going to guide you through a little wake-up call of how we can reframe this often fear-based idea. So number one, let's identify what's wrong and why. the what and the why. Let's clarify it. Again, our mind cannot move on to the next part if the first is not clear. So number one, the what and the why. The what? Climate change, global warming, pollution. It's overwhelming, right? And we have sensationalist news who keep having us bite that hook, line and sinker, right? Everything is terrible. They're making money on creating a really, really scary scenario. A lot of people are in a place of ego where they can have power and say, gosh, this is terrible, and look how much worse it's going to get. Well, that's where the feelings come in, right, into our lives. So that what and the bombardment with news and the real facts all just move us into what we're feeling, which is fight or flight. It's fight or flight. We want to stick our head in the sand like an ostrich because it's just too much to handle. That's a natural response. If our mind can't find a solution, if it seems too looming, too overwhelming, and our feelings, right, of anxiety, overwhelmment, depression in regards to climate and what the future holds, the gloomy picture, so we think, that leads us right into this place of paralysis. And so from that place, it's too much. And we think, gosh, I'm too small to make a difference. It's just me. This is the whole planet I live on. So many things are going wrong, or that's what the news is telling me. What am I to do? And so if our mind can't find a path, then we are out, right? We check out and we suffer, but we don't really look around for any more because we think we've had enough. So we labeled the what, right? And how we feel. That's one. Number two, let's label and summarize the overall picture of how we feel. What are our concerns? Well, our concerns are what planet will there be left, right, for our children, right, or our grandchildren, depending on what age we are. That's a serious concern. And that's what a lot of students who come to my classes are thinking. They're thinking, gosh, I mean, what are my kids going to do? My hypothetical kids, my grandkids, what am I supposed to do? It's just too much, right? So in summary, we are in fear. And that's where we're kept because the onslaught of news, it doesn't stop. And that brings me to my third and extremely important point of no return. And that is, I'm going to let you in on a secret, on a big, big, big secret. You know what it is? Well, all of the solutions that we need, that our planet needs, have already been created. That's right. All of the solutions that we need have already been created. You're just not seeing them on the news, but they exist and they're put into practice in different parts of the world. And that is beautiful and incredibly empowering because when people come to me, they say, gosh, Marina, Dr. Oster, what I'm finding is there seems to be only problems. There's only talk of problems, but what about the solutions? And that's what motivated me to start teaching my class almost a decade ago on solutions, that we just need to look for them and we need to flip our vision of what we're looking for. Are we looking for more things to confirm out of fear of what's gone bad? Or are we looking for solutions that are being put into practice, that are scaled, that have been at work for our benefit, quietly, but nonetheless, surely and powerfully, this whole time, and now more and more and more? What if the problem was that we were looking for the problem and not for the solution, and how we can be part of the solution? And so what we have to do, number 4, the action step, we have to move away from fear, because fear equals paralysis, right? That's what it does to us. It shuts down our nervous system, it shuts down our brain, and that's it. We're frozen in time. And we're getting bashed around all of this sensationalist and negative information that's out there. Is it even true? Is it out there for an agenda? Is it sensationalized? Those are the questions that need to be asked. And then also, in contrast, right, if fear equals paralysis, then action equals empowerment. That is the gold. That is the gold nugget, everyone. It's that action equals empowerment. And so not only do we need to start looking through the lens of where are the solutions? I'm going to go look for solutions in my neighborhood, in my county, in my state, right? In my country. I'm going to look around, or internationally. I'm going to look for that. That is the intention I'm going to set. I'm not looking for more problems and for things that, what am I going to do about them? But I'm going to look and start entering into a mindset of solution-based thinking. And so the hardest thing to do is to actually stay rooted in fear, because it's an overwhelming negative feeling. Now, the key is to start taking small actions yourself. And once you can do that, once you can build upon one action, you will feel empowered. There is no other way. And then you will reach and say, gosh, like that wasn't so hard. I can do this too. And I can do that. And I can reach out to that group, and I can do something in my house, or I can do something at my work, right? That is what gets us out of the fear-based paralysis. It's action. And big actions can seem overwhelming. So we have to start small. We have to start in digestible actions. The reality is that when I teach my class, I struggle. It's impossible to fit all of the solutions that exist at all scales, in all categories, into a class. They are endless, they are powerful, and they are incredible. I'll link a few at the bottom of this video so you can start exploring, but I want you to explore what's going on in your place, right? What is going on in your locale? Because you want to, as I say, impact in place. That's what you want to do. You want to have it become more tangible because it's closer to home, because you know more about it, because you can understand it easier and you can implement it. So look for really simple solutions. That can be looking at zero waste and what you can do inside your house, right? I mean, if you go to the store, do you need to buy something that is a produce item, fruits or vegetables, that are in a plastic clamshell or a bag? Or can you buy something that's, you know, loose, that you can put in your own reusable bag, or in a paper bag that you can compost or recycle, right? It's literally such small things. And once you start doing them, they need to be small to move you out of the fear, because they need to be something that you can handle, that you won't fall back on, right? Like an extreme diet. You can do this one thing, okay, no problem. I can add a few more easy things, right? Like, for example, if I'm at work, I can make sure that I turn off the lights. I turn off the computers overnight, so they're not taking on electricity, which is using on fossil fuels, most likely, right? If it's not a renewable energy source. And so those are the questions that you can ask yourself, and we can all do as people living on this planet, as people who are either growing our food or buying our food or buying anything. Our purchasing power is really important. And so look for an alternative, or if you see one, just open your mind to the possibility of another item, right, that's on that shelf. And so that's what you want to start doing. You want to start cultivating the mindset of small actions, because they're going to move you and be the bridge that takes you from fear and into an empowered, solution-based mindset. If this video was helpful, then like, share with your friends, family, and network and colleagues. This is so important to get out there and have people ease into doing what's right and what's best for them and the planet. And as a climate expert in climate grief, I ask you, add into the comments what else you'd like to hear on this topic. I'm happy to look over that and see what else we can talk about next week.